La Supernotte, the Super Night, this is how Corriere dello Sport decided to open their front page today, and they are totally correct, because today will be a super night. Champions League is back, Juventini, and we were waiting for way too long. 685 days ago was the last time that we played in Champions League. Way too long for Juventini that always deserve to play the maximum, the biggest competition, the European competition for club. Ragazzi, today we will speak about Champions League and Champions League only, but before that I'm asking you to show me your excitement, to show me how much you want Juventus in Champions League. With a maximum of like, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and comment. Let me know your opinion. If you want, you can also start with your prediction. Champions League is what we will talk about in today's video, and let's talk about it. I told you 685 days ago was the last time that we played a game of Champions League. It was in 2022, November the 2nd against Paris Saint-Germain. A game that we lost, a game at home. You all remember that night because there were the initial Federico Chiesa comeback minutes after the big injury. Unfortunately, Federico Chiesa is not there anymore, but if you are looking at that starting lineup of back then, not a lot of persons are still there. Not a lot of players are still there. Szczesny was in the goal with Alessandro Bonucci, Gatti, Rabiot, Locatelli, Quadrado on the right side, Kostic on the left, Fagioli, Miretti and Arkadiusz Milik. If Arkadiusz Milik and Fagioli are still in the team, not a lot of chances for them to play this evening. On the other side, Locatelli and Gatti can still be there. They will probably start. High chances for both of them. Capitano, vice-captain, captain, vice-captain. Let's see who will have the armband today, but these are the two persons that played that last game in Champions League that we will probably see on the field today. If we need to go back to the last time that we won in Champions League, or at least make at least 1 point, it was that victory over Maccabi Haifa. I'm not speaking about the 11th of October, but the 5th of October 2022. We are speaking about more or less 2 years since that last game of Champions League won by Juventus. Way too long, ragazzi. We need to start today with a victory. We need to go and win today. Today it's much more than only a Champions League win against PSV, or starting really well, or opening the competition in the right side. After the two draws against Roma and Empoli, after seeing, for example, Udinese being there on top, and knowing that we are playing against Napoli on Saturday, today it's much more than only 3 points. It's 3 points, starting well the biggest competition, starting back winning in that competition because it's way too long that we were waiting for it, but it's also giving ourselves a boost of confidence that we are much better than what we saw against Empoli, that the ideas of Thiago Motta are working and that we believe in them, and also winning means that we scored a goal and we need to go back to scoring. Yesterday we saw a part of the training session where at a certain moment Juventus, I don't know if they did it because they wanted to show it to us or it was just a casualty, but yesterday we saw Alexandre Hugueux, that is the vice coach of Thiago Motta, speaking with Thiago, telling him in French, "Je pense que ce mec veut progresser." I believe that this guy wants to improve, wants to progress. We will never know who they were speaking about, what particular player they were speaking about. But one thing that I know is that Juventus, they want to progress as a team in that competition. They want to do well. I have a good feeling for the competition. I really have a good feeling that we can do really well. Are we favorites in the Champions League? Absolutely not. If we are realistic, Juventus is back with a total new team, with a lot of young players, new players that will play that competition for the first time. We are not in the 5, 6, 8 favorites to win that tournament, but you know it. Beautiful stories exist, and at a certain moment we need to get back to get used to winning also in that competition. Yesterday, Thiago Motta said two important things. We want to play our game, and also we want to be competitive against whatever and whoever team that we are facing. Two important words. These are the objectives of Juventus Football Club. How do we go through in that total new competition? Not like yesterday Thiago Motta said in press conference. He was a bit, I don't know, stressed, or I don't know, I miscalculation. He said 23 points we need to do to qualify to the next round, to the knockout stages. We'll need less than 23, which is impossible if we are making a really fast math, because you are playing 8 games, or you have 24 because you won all of them, or if you do one draw, you have a maximum of 22 points. So 23 is impossible, but who cares? The important thing is that we will need to win today, starting really well against a PSV that will come in our home to surprise, to do really well, and we'll come back on the words of Bosch in a second. Gazzetta dello Sport is saying, Europa, eccoci qui. Europe, here we are. Yes, we are here. The debut of Thiago Motta in Champions League as a coach, but also of 10 other players who are there. Nico Gonzalez will probably, if he plays, play his first game in Champions League, like Di Gregorio, like Cambiaso, Yildiz, Cabal, Savona, Rui, Adzic, Bangula, Douglas Luiz, a lot of players. But on top of that, not only we have a lot of debuts in Champions League, but also a lot of players that we are already seeing as anciens, experience of Serie A, of Italian competition, that will be at nearly their start in that competition. A Bremer with, I believe, 3 games played in Champions League, Koopmeiners 5, Locatelli 12, Thuram 2 competition, the only one with the most experience in Champions League with a lot of clubs, Porto, Real Madrid, Manchester City, Juventus, is Danilo. And also for Danilo, another night will he will be another night on the bench. That's what I told you. Experience is important in Champions League, with a mix of youth, with a mix of surprise, with a mix of unconsciousness, which is super important, but experience is needed. And this is actually the point where the coach of PSV is going for. He said yesterday in press conference, if you are making the sum of the total apps in Champions League, PSV has 1 more year of Champions League, more than the players that played for Juve. Ideaal, affiche voor een stunt. It's the ideal game for a banger. This is the title of Sportwereld today. They said last year we had not the possibility to go for a big result against one of the big teams. Today is ideal to go with a big result against a big team. They believe in it. They have respect for Juve. They know that we are a big team, but they believe that they can do it. They probably also saw the Empoli game, the Roma game. They know that there is the possibility to actually block Juventus, to not let them score, but they believe that they can do it, especially because they know how to score with 20 goals scored so far this season. So what are the lineups? Well, it's a huge, big confusion. Every single journalist, every single paper, every single whatever, they are giving us a different lineup. Why? Because we know with Thiago Motta never gives not even one name of who will start. So it's a big confusion with everyone that goes with feelings, sensation. We think that it is possible that, of course, the most, let's say, the one that we are all expecting or that we want is the one with Di Gregorio into the goal. Kalulu, Gatti, Bremer, Cambiaso, the same defense of last week, with Thuram, Locatelli, Nico Gonzalez, Koopmeiners, Yildiz, and up front, Dusan Vlahovic. This is the lineup that we all want. The lineup reported this morning by Gazzetta dello Sport. But yesterday, Sky Sport scared a lot of Yildiz fans, a lot of Juve fans that want that number 10 on the field. With Di Gregorio into the goal, it's always the same defense, but Locatelli, Thuram as a double pivot, Wea, Koopmeiners, Nico Gonzalez on the left instead of Yildiz, and then Vlahovic on top. Tutto Sport is going with another one, with a 4-1-4-1. Again, the same defense and goalkeeper. Thuram there as the only pivot, and then Wea on the right, Nico Gonzalez on the left. Locatelli and Yildiz in that midfield line, and Vlahovic on top. You can also put Locatelli a bit lower, and then you have that 4-2-3-1 with Yildiz that is there. Behind Dusan Vlahovic with no Koopmeiners. And then we go towards a crazy formation, a crazy lineup that sees Di Gregorio, and again the same defense, McKENNIE instead of Kefren Thuram together with Locatelli, Wea on the right, Gonzalez, Nico on the left, Koopmeiners or Yildiz behind Dusan Vlahovic, which would mean that in the first possibility you have no Yildiz and no Kefren Thuram and no Douglas Luiz. Not a single paper after the performance of Empoli, after not seeing him starting for the first 3 games, is putting Douglas Luiz. I think that Douglas Luiz will need a bit more time to really offer what we are expecting from him. But then, not seeing Thuram from the start and seeing Weston McKennie is and can possibly be that big, huge surprise. So I was thinking, why is that? Why is Weston McKennie there, not on the right side, but in the middle of the field, next to Locatelli? Can play a bit more on the right, can play a bit more on the left, but as a real midfielder. Well, I go back to last season. It's a player that is able to really give a lot of coverage of the field. He can play really filling a box-to-box position. Weston McKennie could possibly help Locatelli to to help the defense. For what reason? Because we need to help Dusan Vlahovic. We need to really support Dusan Vlahovic. We need to avoid isolating him, but also making sure that Koopmeiners, that Yildiz or Nico Gonzalez or Weah or whoever is playing there, that all these players are thinking only offensively, that they can really focus on how can we penetrate the defense of PSV. And that's why a Weston McKennie starting instead of a Thuram that is not yet probably ready to play 90 minutes with a high intensity, but probably entering in the second half as he did against Empoli, could be a solution. You take care of the defensive phase, you take care of that box-to-box, filling in the areas, filling in the gaps of the players that are going up. If Nico Gonzalez is playing on the right or Weah and they are going up, Weston McKennie can take that side as he did last year, for example, with Cambiaso. Do you remember? So it can possibly be a tactical idea to have a player that we are sacrificing in doing the dirty work so that the players up front can possibly shine and also support Dusan Vlahovic. In Tuttosport the title is Tutti dicono Dusan Vlahovic. They all say Vlahovic. From Padovano to whatever player that they had as an interview, they all say Dusan Vlahovic is a strong player, is a good player. If we are able to give him a bit of balls, he will make the difference. So don't isolate Dusan Vlahovic. Give him the balls, because then he will sure make his beautiful debut today with beautiful goals. And that's what we are all hoping for. So let's see what will be the final lineup. I tell you, so many predicted lineup that it's difficult to pick one, to choose one. Let's see what Juventus will be able to do on the field. Of course, if Yildiz is playing, he will have a beautiful duel against Ledesma, because I always said it in football, you have your 11, 16 with the subs that you need to take care about, but there's also the opponent that is also paying attention to you, that is also there to block you, to not let you play your game. Well, Yildiz, these one-on-one against Ledesma will be important. If not Yildiz, then it is Nico Gonzalez on the left side of the field. Bremer will need to pay attention to Luc de Jong. Pay attention to de Jong, player with a lot of experience at PSV, scored so many goals last season, started well this season as well, experience at Barcelona. He knows what it is to play these big nights, so pay attention, Bremer. But Bremer, we know it on that side in man marking is a surely a player that can give us a lot of confidence. And then Koopmeiners or Till, pay attention to these two players that will be there to actually orchestrate a bit the way of playing from both teams. If we are able to limit Till and if we are able to actually free up Koopmeiners, this is something that where Juventus can win the game. And as I told you, and that's probably the last image that I want to show you, as I told you, pay attention, because today is not only worth 3 points. We need to focus only about PSV today. We need to find a way to win the game, to score goals. And then with that confidence, with that boost, we need to think about Juve Napoli on Saturday. But not today. Today is Champions League. Today is the champions. What is the schedule for today? Juventus against PSV. We will do the pre-game here on the channel, the watch-along, and then, of course, the post-game. So I hope we will be with a lot. I'm really curious to see how much you are excited about that game. I'm really curious to hear your opinion today. So grazie, forza, Juve.